I've never viewed my life. I never thought of success. I never viewed my life like that. Until I started to try to find out what you would want to know from me. It finally dawned on me I had a lot of success. I had a lot of failures, I had a lot of success. The difference between failure and success is you just try over and over again until you get it right. I was one of 6 children. We lived on a farm, and everything that we ate, we grew. It was an 80-acre farm, and each one of us kids, it depended on how your age, what kind of responsibilities you had, but we all had chores. And I learned there was a lot expected out of each of us kids by Mom and Dad, by how old we were. We were expected to carry our weights. After breakfast, we'd go out in the fields, and we would cut brush and clear land. And we did it by hand. We had no machinery.
How did your upbringing play a role in your success?
The way our dad and mom taught us. Dad had a lot of strict rules. And I didn't appreciate it back then, and I thought it was unfair. And but looking back now, after I've had my own children, I'm really tickled he did that. The way I was brought up, when you worked for someone, you did the best you could. My dad always taught us that no matter what the job or how low the job is that you think that you have, he said, if you go out and sweep streets, he said, you make sure you're the best street sweeper they have. If you wash dishes for a living, you make sure you're the best dishwasher they ever had. And that's how I've went through my work life all my life. He said, if you can't sign your name to it, don't do it. And he said, if you have time to do it over, you have to take the time to do it right the first time. And a lot of times that worked, and a lot of times it didn't. I mean, you're prone to mistakes. But where Mom and Dad taught me, if you make a mistake, own up to it, get up and go on. And hope you don't make that mistake again. You just try harder. You just try harder.
Growing up, who did you view as successful?
My mom. Over all the people that I've met in my life, the most successful person, and that I have immense respect for, is my mother. She was a wonderful, wonderful woman. Hard worker. She could make $30 out of a dime. She could manage, and she taught me some. I had to learn a lot on my own, but it's because of what she taught me that made me end up doing the things I did.
Has your life been different than what you imagined?
Oh, yes. When I was growing up, I thought my mom and dad taught me to clean house and cook and got me ready to be a wife, to take care of a home, a family, and that's not what I did at all. That's not what I did. In fact, if my dad were alive, he'd never believe in a million years what I wound up doing for the majority of my life. He'd never believe it in a million years.
Has reading played a significant role in your life, and if so, what kind of things do you enjoy reading?
At a certain point in my life, I had time to read. With a family of 5 to take care of, and a job where I worked shift work, my time for myself to read was slim to none. But before all that, I did a lot of reading. I loved to read. I loved to get lost in a book. And it takes you away from the everyday worries you go through, and you just live in another world for a while. I have lots of books. Lots of books.
And what kind of books did you like to read?
Suspense. I liked Dean Koontz. I liked Stephen King.
Tell me a story that has a particular meaning for you. What story do or would you tell over and over again, and
A
why?
friend of mine said he would rent me his farm for $50 a month, and that was back in 1978. And so I told him I would. He had about he had about 10 head of chickens. They were beautiful chickens. I was going to my mom's. It was about an hour's drive from where his farm was. And along the road, before I hit Route 7, along the road, there I saw ahead of me a dog in the road. And I stopped before I got to that dog, because as soon as I got so that I could see what kind of dog it was, it went up on his, and it sat up like this. And I was kind of afraid, you know. So I opened the door and I started towards the dog. And I was going real slow, because if it turned out like it was going to bite me, I was going to run. I left the car door open just in case it got mean and I'd have to run. I wouldn't have to open the door to get in. Well, I got about 10 feet from that dog, and it got down and started running, and it went straight and got in my car. I went back to the car and had gotten in the back seat. And I pulled the seat up. I pulled the seat up toward the steering wheel and tried to get the dog out of my car. And he bared his teeth like he was going to bite me. So I waited there as long as I could. It was going to get dark. So I decided I was going to have to take a chance and get in that car. Because back then, hey, we didn't have no phones. And there weren't no houses around there. And I didn't know what else to do. I was sitting in the middle of the road. So I took a chance and got in the car and shut the door and started. I was going to head up to Mom's. Well, I went up there and he wouldn't get out of the car again. So I went in and I told Mom what happened, and she couldn't get him out either. So I decided, hey, if he wanted to stay in that car, he could stay in that car. So I went home because I had to go to work the next day. And so I pulled up to the house, and I opened the door, and he still wouldn't get out. He still growled at me. So I left the door open, and I went in the house and left the door open there too. And he came in. He came in the house. And I found I had a dog. It was a big dachshund, black and white dachshund. And he was the best dog I ever had. I loved that dog to death. I loved that dog. But he killed all them chickens.
There's a moral to that story at all?
Oh, it just tells you how many times I got myself in trouble. Because many times my life was interesting. It was interesting. You know, each person's successes or goals are as different as your fingerprints. There's no two fingerprints alike, and neither are your goals. Everyone has different goals. So when I was younger, yeah, I had goals I knew I could reach, and some goals that I set for myself, it took years. Like I wanted to be an electrician, and I worked hard, and it took me 2 years, but come to find out it took me 20, because you never stop learning. You just never stop learning. There's only one thing that I didn't succeed at in my life. And I don't think I ever will. And I try hard every day. I try hard every day.
And?
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 I'm always late. I'm never on time. I've been that way all my life. All my adult life. And the people that want me, specifically want me at wherever they need me to be, they got in the habit of telling me the time would be an hour earlier than I was expected to be there, so that I'm always an hour late. And whenever they started doing that, I was always right on time. And somebody else I well know and love is the same way.
We'll edit that part out.